Hello everyone, this is Anna. I'm the creator of the Oracle of the Magical Fairy Forest, the founder of Wonderland Publishing, and the co-founder of the Deck Creators Launchpad and community, where we support creatives, coaches, healers, teachers, and entrepreneurs on their journey of bringing their card decks to life. And in this video, I wanted to answer a question I received on my other channel this morning in response to an older video where I was talking about listing your card deck on Amazon, and I explained two different ways to do this. And so somebody wanted to know a little bit more specifically about listing your card deck on Amazon through a third-party distributor, but I just wanted to kind of recap all the options in this video and explain a little bit more in depth how all of this works and also what the pros and cons are. I've definitely learned a lot since I put up this previous video. It's been quite a long time. That was pretty much in the beginning stages when I first started exploring putting up decks on Amazon, and I'd done it for a few clients and perhaps myself as well, but yeah, I've definitely seen a lot over the years and also seen more of the pros and cons of even considering selling your deck on Amazon as a whole. That is a topic of its own. Maybe I'll go into this briefly. But first of all, let me just explain the basic options that are available to you if you want to list your deck on Amazon. So the first option is to set up your own seller account and list your deck yourself. So the advantage of that really is that you have a maximum amount of flexibility. You have all the control that you want over your listing, and also your deck is going to be listed under your own brand, which gives you an advantage, especially if other sellers want to list your deck on Amazon as well. So you'll be primarily represented under your own brand, or your deck will be primarily represented under your own brand. And even if other sellers want to list your deck as well, and they might want to charge a little bit less than what you're charging, your listing will still be a lot more visible. And so all the other listings, even if they're lower priced, might not compete with yours as much. And that is a concern that people sometimes have. If you are not represented as your own brand on Amazon, and then other retailers come and list the deck on Amazon, then they might undercut you with their pricing compared to maybe what you're charging on your own website, on Etsy, and so on. And yeah, so I wouldn't worry about this too much, but it is something to consider if you want to distribute your deck to retailers, but you don't want to set up your own Amazon listing. And so the cons of listing your deck on Amazon yourself, the main downside, I would say, would be it can just be quite complicated. And yeah, it takes a bit of learning to really figure out how to do it. And then also, if you ever have to deal with Amazon seller support, then that can be a bit of a hassle. It's definitely gotten worse over the years. It used to be a lot easier, I would say, in the past when I set up listings for my clients in the beginning. If I had a question, then I could get it answered pretty quickly and I could get any issues resolved pretty quickly. But in more recent years, it's been a nightmare, and I've heard a lot of stories. So this is not just me saying it. But yeah, so you'll really have to weigh the pros and cons for yourself. But let me introduce you to some other options here. So the basic second option would be working with a third party who can list the deck on Amazon for you. And I'm really talking about distributors here, and there are different kinds of distributors, so maybe I'll just share some basics here too. Usually distributors are really like a middleman between you and retailers. So these would be most of the distributors you'll encounter in the publishing world and in other industries as well. And how this works is that, yeah, basically you sign up to work with a distributor, and then the distributors have all the connections to the retailers, and the retailers will order from the distributor, so not directly from you, but from the distributor. And that just makes things easier for them. They basically have the option to order lots of different products from one source. And so not just your decks, but also other decks and books and so on. And then the way it works is usually you will get about 40% of the recommended retail price. Then the distributor will keep about 10%, and the retailer will get a 50% discount off the recommended retail price. And then they can sell your decks in whatever way they want, in their physical stores, online stores, and also list your decks on Amazon if they want to. And just to get back to what I mentioned earlier, around the fear of retailers undercutting your pricing. So there's a limit to what they can do because, so they get the 50% discount off the recommended retail price, which you determine with your distributor. And then they still have to be profitable on Amazon as well. So they can't undercut you to the degree where, it's just not going to make sense for them anymore financially, because Amazon does take a seller fee as well, and it can be quite high. It depends on the category, the type of listing, and so on. Let's move on to the other option. So there are some distributors that are, kind of a little bit of a different category. And I've only really worked with one of those, and I'm not really familiar with any others that I can think of right now that would do the same thing. I'm sure there are some others. But in the publishing world specifically, there's a company that I've worked with that also offers other services for publishers and independent creators, self-published authors. And so they might do things like printing or storing your decks for you and doing order fulfillment. Basically, whenever an order comes in through your website, through Etsy, and any other platform, they can fulfill your orders for you. I'm not going to go into much detail about how exactly that works, but one service they offer specifically is selling your decks on Amazon for you as well. So rather than setting up your own seller account, you can just submit the details to them, and then they will list it for you. They will take the orders for you, and also when you receive an order from Amazon, they will automatically fulfill it for you. And so there's really two advantages here. The first advantage is that you don't have to figure out how to set up your listings yourself. You don't have to manage it. You don't have to worry about the hassles and nightmares of dealing with Amazon seller support, if that ever happens. And then they will also fulfill your orders for you, and that can be a time-saving option if you're not wanting to ship your decks yourself. And yes, then another advantage that I can think of as well is, you pay a one-time fee, but then you don't have to pay the monthly seller fees on Amazon. And I will say there are two options if you want to set up your own Amazon seller account. I forgot to mention this earlier. So you have the option to set up a professional seller account, and that comes with a monthly fee. You can also set up an individual seller account, which is more beginner friendly. It has some limitations, especially if you need integrations, but it is free in the sense that there's no monthly fee for you, but they still do take the seller fees, and that will be a little bit higher than if you're paying monthly. So depending on how many sales you make per month, one or the other may make more sense for you. But if you're working with a third-party distributor who lists the deck on Amazon for you, then you won't really have to worry about that. And of course, the same will apply, let's say, if you're working with a publisher. If you're published by a traditional publisher, then they will take care of all of that for you. So that would be another category. But we do work mostly with self-published creators, so that is our specialty. All right, I hope you found this helpful. If you have any questions, please feel free to drop it in the comments below. If you want more support on your journey of creating, launching, and selling your card deck, then we would love for you to come into our Deck Creators Launchpad And there we guide you through the whole process step by step, and we help you piece together your very own unique system based on your goals and your strengths. And yeah, we really help you make it work for you, because there's so many options. There's so many ways you can sell your deck. And so it's not just about learning about the hows of, how you do everything and how everything works, but ultimately really putting together a system that works for you and that helps you reach your goals in a way that feels good to you. Thank you so much for watching. I'm sending you lots of love, and I can't wait to be back with more videos.